Becoming your own banker. Hi, my name is Fong Chuan. Welcome to another Make More Mind Bites. Today we have a phenomenal guest. He is one of the most passionate people I know when it comes to insurance. He can make insurance sound absolutely fascinating. One time he took a water bottle, some ketchup bottles, some napkins, and he actually diagrammed the entire insurance policy so that it was easier to understand. He's been coaching and educating hundreds and thousands of individuals and families with regards to finances, insurance, investments, and of course how they can become their own bank. Now, he is also a person that absolutely makes sure his client's best interest is on mind, adds value, always focuses on the relationships, and always makes sure that they're set up for success. He has so much energy that it's absolutely contagious to all those around him. Please welcome the extraordinary Richard Canfield.
Thanks, Fong. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, no, thank you. Now, thank you very much for being here, spending some time with us, and sharing your expertise. Now, Richard, you're a man of many talents, lots of expertise, and lots of knowledge. Now, can you share with us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what inspired you to become a coach and educator of insurance and financial literacy?
Yeah, I think I could do that. Well, I'm a pretty humble fella. I grew up in a small farming community here in Alberta, and I actually was born into a family business. You could say I was the heir to the portable toilet kingdom of Camrose, a prince to the throne, as it were. So I always like to throw that joke in there. And I grew up in an environment where, in a farming community, all I really understood and knew was hard work. That's what happens when you're in Alberta, when you're in this environment here. You kind of learn all about hard work. And what I didn't learn enough about, though, in my youth was about leverage and how to create that in different areas. And so I remember we got into our very first piece of rental real estate. I was 12 years old, so I kind of learned, cut my teeth in the landlording world at an early age, and I moved more appliances than I can possibly want to remember down the smallest stairwell known to man in a suite house. And what I found in that environment is that although it was a good opportunity, we learned a lot of lessons. Those lessons didn't really resonate or come to me in realization until many, many years later. I was actually very frustrated with the experience, and what I realized, thinking back, is that what we lacked as a family at that time, we had the right idea, probably at the right time frame, the right kind of property. What we didn't have was the expertise and the experience. We didn't have a coach. We didn't have coaching in our life in that environment to really help us be truly successful. And so it dawned on me many years later. And so now when I meet with clients and folks, I'm just so excited about being able to help coach them in different areas of their life so that they can, really ramp up their success. A lot of times when you're coaching with folks, really what you're doing is you're helping them just discover and see things that are there already that they can't, for whatever reason, see themselves. They're too close to the information. They need that outside perspective. I call it the helicopter view. Let's get in our helicopter and fly up to 3,000 feet so we can get a good look at everything that's down and around us. And so when you can have that outside perspective with others, especially in their financial life and what's going on in the financial world, we're so caught up in the day-to-day environment of what's going on and paying the bills and where's the money coming from here and what's the next opportunity. And then you build in a relationship, a marriage and kids and family or a business, and it becomes a whole monster of different things and moving parts. So you need to have an outside perspective, an outside influence to be able to come in, look at all that information objectively when you're not, someone that's not directly attached to it, so that they can really ask you good questions so that you can really determine and figure out where's the next place I need to be going to get me to that next point of success in my life.
Well, that's very, very important because it's those coaches around you that really helps you get to where you want to be. Now, what is it about insurance that's so fascinating to you? What is this infinite banking concept that you're so passionate about, and basically how does it kind of work?
Okay, that's a tall order and a big question. So what am I passionate about with insurance? Well, 10 years ago, if you would have told me, we would have met and you told me that I would be in the insurance industry, I probably would have laughed you out of the room. I had no intention of ever being in this environment. And in fact, even to this day, it surprises me that I'm here. It turns out that I absolutely love this industry. I would have had no idea. But in 2009, an amazing book, a book came into my life and totally changed my entire life. The book's called Becoming Your Own Banker, Unlocking the Infinite Banking Concept. The author it's a best-selling book. It's sold over 300,000 copies in I think about 35 countries. Self-published. It's almost unheard of in the financial category. And so this book, it's only about 92 pages. I read it and it totally changed everything I thought of about money. And in fact, it came to me at a time, I think it was the perfectly right time in my world, because it helped me understand that all the information I'd learned up to that point in time in my life, it wasn't that it was all incorrect, it was that there was missing pieces and missing components in the financial world that I didn't know about. And I'd spent a great deal of money on my personal and financial education up to that point. I'd traveled all over North America to meet real estate gurus and business tycoons of all kinds, all shapes and sizes. And I thought, I had this thing called the arrival syndrome, where I kind of thought I knew it all. And then, in fact, there's a chapter in Nelson's book that tells me I was wrong about that. And so really helping people understand as part of the process that we have to be constant students and always constantly learning, because there's always more information out there. You can never possibly know it all. And so thankfully, Nelson, as a mentor now and a friend of mine, has helped teach me some tremendous lessons. And the infinite banking concept, really ultimately what it is exactly that. It's a concept. It's a strategy and an idea about how you can incorporate the idea of banking, the flow and movement of money in our life, which ultimately is what banking is, in infinite potential, infinite capacity. The reason Nelson used the word infinite is that when something is finite, we put limitations on it. There's boundaries, there's walls there. So the infinite is really up here in our brain. It's what allows us to, whatever we can create in our thought process and in interactions with others and good coaching, that's how we determine the infinite possibilities of life. And so when you incorporate that and you focus it in on the banking relationship of how we interact with money and our lifelong cash flow, really that's what we're doing with infinite banking. It's a strategy that allows us to take the savings and the lifelong earnings and earning potential of a family or a business owner, harness it inside of a storage facility, a warehouse, if you would, for your capital, for your wealth, so that when opportunities arise and strike, you can deploy money from that warehouse, implement whatever's on the doorstep, whether it's the next car you got to buy, a piece of equipment for your business, investing in a new business, investing in a piece of real estate, renovations on a piece of real estate, inserting a basement suite in. Any one of these things could be a resource of where we might want to put capital. Well, we take it from this warehouse because it's liquid. We're able to deploy that capital for that item, that thing that you're looking for. But the money over here continues to grow as though we never touched it. What we're doing is we're creating an environment with infinite banking that allows uninterrupted compounding on your money for the rest of your natural life. The beautiful part is this: even if something happens and heaven forbid we're taken out of the game early, you know what I mean by that, an influx of tax-free capital comes flying in to solve a whole bunch of other problems. So really what we're doing is we're incorporating liquidity as a strategy, building equity inside of another form other than real estate, where it automatically is designed to pass to the next generation no matter what you do. It is really literally one of the most powerful things people can consider doing in their financial life. I absolutely love it. It's phenomenal.
Wow. Now, I read that book as well. The book absolutely changed my life as well, and it changed so much things in my mindset and how I strategize my financial future. Now, that actually sounds like something that everybody should have in their financial warehouse. Can you tell us why it's not so generally well known, or why the masses just doesn't accept that concept?
That's a really good question, and I actually get that question quite often. Why haven't I heard of this before? Well, we only know what we know. And so unless we're exposed to new ideas, or we're in an environment where we're open to learning, oftentimes we take people will take a little bit of information and they'll reach a snap conclusion or a judgment. And so we have to be able to peel the onion. There's multiple layers out there in the information we receive. And so a lot of times an idea like this may have always been there, it's always been available, but people just didn't have an opportunity to discover it for what it is. And so really what Nelson's done with his book, Becoming Your Own Banker, he's just put a bright spotlight, a flashlight on the information and given people an opportunity to really see it for what it is and expose a truth that's really always been there. And so I had no idea. I'd spent $40-some thousand on my personal financial education, gurus all over North America. Nobody told me the information in that book. It was a really bad Canadian exchange rate when I ordered it. It cost me $45 plus extra costs for UPS to bring it to my door. And I got a better financial education for $45 than the $40,000 plus I'd spent 10 years prior in my life. I mean, that's almost insane. And so, one of the biggest recommendations I can have for people is to make sure you get a copy of that book and read it, because it's literally changed my entire life. The impact it has on my family and the people that I work with and my clients, I can't even calculate that because it hasn't even materialized yet. But it's so tremendous and so profound that it just inspires me every day with what we're able to do because of this concept.
So if somebody wants to find out more about how to structure the financial foundation and their financial warehouse, what's the first thing that you think they should do besides buying the book?
Well, I'm glad you asked about the book again, of course. I mean, yeah, absolutely. The first thing would be buy the book and read it, of course. I mean, you're going to get a phenomenal education, and at least you have understanding. So like we talked about earlier, you know, if you don't know something exists, how will you ever understand if you don't discover and start learning about the information? You know, the second thing that I would recommend someone does is they actually write down the questions that they have in the book so that they can meet with someone who would be an authorized practitioner. There's practitioners out there that have been authorized by the Nelson Nash Institute to teach his message and help people really truly understand how to implement that idea. So that would be the next step, is write down your questions and then meet with an individual to get those questions answered. I mean, ultimately speaking, what we're doing and what we're talking about for people in their financial household, you know, if you think of a house has to have a foundation. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you know, you have a house of cards, it's ready to fall down. If you don't have a solid foundation, you know, so many things can happen. The wind blows the wrong way and your house comes collapsing down. And so in your financial world, your financial house, it is very important that you have a solid foundation for everything. I personally believe that the infinite banking concept and the implementation of it is a core aspect of a household or a business that should be the foundation from which all other financial decisions, acquisitions, you know, whatever things you're looking to do with your financial life stem from that. So it really becomes that solid foundation. Now, most people, they're already at a point in life somewhere where they've built up a financial life in whatever condition that is. Now, we may need to, they already have a house built, but maybe they've got a problem with their foundation. There's some shaky ground. Mm-hmm. Well, we can bring a team of people in, you know, we'll dig out around the foundation and we'll repair it as needed, and we can utilize the infinite banking concept to be able to even do that in those kind of cases. So it's really very versatile.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Now, I know that we talked a little bit about finances, insurance, and the infinite banking concept. Now, if there was one thing that you want people to take away from this interview about those items, what would that one thing be?
Control. You need to be in control of your financial life. Most people don't realize that they always have been, but they've abdicated the responsibility of their financial life to someone else, an advisor, their bank perhaps, some other individual or entity. You are responsible for your own financial life and condition. So you have to take responsibility and understand that the control rests with you. And the more you can harness that through education and understanding, knowing how to implement ideas and strategies that give you the most flexibility, opportunity, and control of your own personal wealth and monetary system, the better off you'll be. So your education and your ability to implement ideas as they come to you is very important, that you can really be empowered to have the control of your financial life.
So remember, control is very, very important. Now, I know you work with many individuals, you sat down with lots of other people, and you coach lots of people. What do you strive to have them leave the room saying their experience with you is like?
Well, I hope when they walk out of the room, their experience and they're leaving the room saying, wow. You know, I have actually heard that before, but you know, my hope and my intention is that they're able to walk out and say, you know what, I feel finally that I can be in control and I'm being empowered with my financial life. And that I'm in the driver's seat and I don't have to give up that control to someone else to do it for me. I can take the reins and do it for myself. That's ultimately what I'm hoping to do with folks, and really by coaching them through the right mindset and education to be able to do it all on their own.
The magic word is wow. So every time you see him, just go up to him, wow, Richard, that was awesome. Now, I just wanted to go through 5 quick rapid fire questions,
all
just so our viewers would get to know you a little bit more.
Okay. Sounds good.
Quick answers, if possible.
Okay.
Right? If you could relate yourself to one superhero, which superhero would that be and why?
Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility.
You're stranded on a desert island.
Okay.
You're only allowed one sauce. Ooh. Which sauce would that be and why? Because I know you love sauce.
That's a good question. I believe the pronunciation is stenenagente sauce. It stems from the Aomori prefecture of Japan, and I have a friend of mine that makes the most delicious chicken karage with it that I absolutely love.
Who's your childhood idol?
Spider-Man.
Okay. Now, if Spider-Man was here right now,
Yep.
and you could take him out to the town, either to a show, some kind of entertainment, what would that be?
I think I would just say, hey, Spider-Man, come on out to the acreage and we'll sit by the fire and just hang out. And you could tell me about, you know, the last time you beat up Doc Ock or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And my final question, oh, actually, two more questions.
Okay.
Second last question, who styled your hair?
My wife styled my hair. She owns a nice little salon called Strathcona Hair Affair, and she's absolutely incredible, amazing woman. So.
And finally, we're going to play What is Success Like? Now, for our viewers, this is where I ask our guest here, what is success like? He'll be looking at picking a card out of this random deck of items, and he'll say what success is like. You ready?
I was born ready.
Alrighty, so what is success like?
Success is like a cyclops because it's very one-sided and focused in your life. And so the more that you can have a singular vision about what you want to achieve in life, the more you can have success, just like a cyclops.
Great, so remember to be focused on success, just like a cyclops. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who would like to get to know you a bit more, connect with you, either come to one of your events and ask you about insurance or their policies.
Right.
What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Best way is probably through my website. It's pretty simple. It's richardcanfield.ca. I have a variety of resources available there. There's actually a recorded webinar with an introduction to the infinite banking concept. It goes over a lot of core fundamental things that people should understand if this is something that they're actually considering implementing in their life. And so you have to go through a discovery process, and there's, you know, those resources would be very helpful for that. That would probably be the best method.
Okay, great. So remember to connect with Richard. There's lots of great content. His events are a lot of fun, and you're just going to have an absolutely wowing time. Now, so remember, today is the day where you can unlock your potential. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you very much.